Congress has less than 10 days until government funding runs out. The ball's in the House's court to figure out a plan to avoid a shutdown. Joining us now with more is former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Mr. Speaker, I don't know how to do that. We would normally say, Mr. Speaker, because you were Speaker, but it's such a loaded, after what we witnessed, Congressman, it's crazy. I'm going to keep calling you Speaker anyway. Who knows? Maybe someday that'll be your title again. But you speak to the new Speaker. You speak to the new Speaker. He's got a plan for some kind of remedy here within the next week or so. Can you fill us in on what it looks like?
Well, they haven't laid out exactly, but there is talk of a laddered CR where some of the government's funded to a certain time and some to the other. The one thing you have to remember, whatever passes also has to pass the Senate and signed into the president. I don't think creating more cliffs will solve the problem. The real challenge here is you have to look at that last 45 days when you get to the next week was designed for us to go to conference and work out the differences between the Senate and the House. Unfortunately, that we went through a speaker's race and we didn't have time to do all this. So we're kind of back at square one. We probably need a stopgap measure that takes us out to the next month and get this all finished once and for all. I don't think shutting the government down would be smart right now, and I didn't think it then either. I see it cost me my job, but I believe paying the troops is worth it.
Well, that's where I was going to go. And cutting to the chase, I'm trying to understand the dynamics of the House at this point, because the perception among some that you had to, deal with the other side to do these things may have cost you your job. If Speaker Johnson does something similar, is he going to get a pass because all the personal issues with some of those gentlemen don't exist with him? So suddenly the same things you did, if he says it this way and you said it that way and it's the same thing, this time will it be okay?
Yeah, I don't see them. Remember, it's just 8 Republicans working with all Democrats. So I don't see them doing that to Speaker Johnson now. And I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, we are more challenged. We got war in Israel. We've got unrest around the world. And for people to think that you shouldn't pay your troops sitting out in the Mediterranean, whether they know if they're going to make their rent or house payments, that is the wrong place to be. I don't believe they would ever do that to Speaker Johnson. Look, it came down to a person. It was just personal in the basis, and I think at the end of the day, the public will see all that. But look, I lost my job over it, but you know what? Fighting for the country is worth it. Putting the country first is the right thing to do.
People, I saw in Babylon Bee, they do it to both sides, Mr. Speaker. They said the Republican Party checks into rehab because they're addicted to losing, and they're going to try and get. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Unfortunately, in the laughter, there's maybe tears. Another election down the drain, basically, not completely, but.
Well, don't misread everything. Now, it's true. The Senate for both cycles lost. The president lost. But in both those cycles where Democrats had big wins, they didn't in the House. I've been the leader for those last 2 cycles, and all we did was win. We've won in California 5 more seats. We've won in New York. If you look at Long Island last Tuesday, Democrats lost. If you look at Louisiana, a governor winning in a primary, don't misread what Virginia had. Governor Youngkin had a really big hill to climb. He was running in those state house seats that were redrawn to benefit Democrats. They hadn't been in that election yet. So, look, Republicans are stronger going into the next election in a year, than we had been in the last 2 election cycles.
Well,
President Biden cannot fix his problem. His problem is his age. And he cannot fix that. His numbers are lower than they were before. When President Biden won the presidency with 82 million votes, do you realize that was the first time since 1994 that no Republican incumbent in Congress lost? Everybody projected we'd lose 15 seats. Right. We beat double-digit Democrats.
You got totally
I feel
outspent.
good about the next election.
Totally outspent. And you were, you're legendary in terms of how much money you were able to raise for these elections. And it's true that, President Biden has that fatal flaw, but, the Republican nominee has got a slew of potential fatal flaws as well. So I don't know how that finally turns out. Let me just ask you about the abortion question. What should Republicans do? What's the right approach to that? Because I would attribute 2022 in large part to that. And
it did affect the last election. You watched
last two,
but from the same point, think about the most liberal states in the union, California and New York. We won in those states as well. So it's now up state by state. And if you watched the debate last night, I thought Nikki Haley probably handled it the best going forward. You have to address the issue. It's not an easy issue. But I watched the Democrats go to extreme positions just even in the last Congress. Abortion on demand up until the last term. I don't think the country's there yet either. But this is an issue that cannot be ignored. It's going to be a state-by-state issue, and members are going to have to be prepared to answer it.
Do you want to talk about anyone other than who former President Trump's running mate is? I mean, do we just assume that what's going to happen? Is it still a question of who it could be besides him, or is it just it's already a foregone conclusion? Do we talk about possible vice presidents?
You still have to go through the Iowa, New Hampshire, but think about the time of where we are. Each day it gets closer. But if you look at the numbers, President Trump is stronger today than he was in 2016. President Biden is weaker today than he was 3 years ago in this election. If you look at the latest polling and you look at those swing states, President Trump is stronger than he's been in the past. So if you wonder, is the nominee going to be President Trump? I believe it will be. Now, if you want to talk about running mates, who's the strongest in the place, you've got to look at areas that would help. And that's part of the debate last night when I sat to look who would add there. I don't think Ron DeSantis is doing well. He started out very strong, but he's coming down. Nikki Haley seems to be coming on rather strong in there, and I think Tim Scott would be an excellent VP as well. But that's a choice for President Trump when he wins the nomination. And remember this, that this election for the nomination for both parties will be over much faster than people think. It'll be mid-March that the delegates, there'll be enough that they'll be selected. So you're going to have a longer campaign time here. And I'd rather be the Republicans. We have much better ideas than the Democrats. And the whole question on the Democrat side isn't if Biden's going to be the nominee, whether he even runs. That's a weak position to have for an incumbent being so close to the next election.